Ladies and gentlemen, I really don't care what happens in Hollywood. Ordinarily, I don't care. But I grew up with Chris Rock and Will Smith, and they're both, amazing talents. Both, I think, important parts of the 90s and early 2000s and a generation, I'd say. So I'm going to comment on what took place. Apparently, and I don't think it's staged, although nobody knows, but apparently what took place, and you can see this pretty much everywhere now, there's an uncensored exchange that you could watch via Japanese television between Will Smith and Chris Rock. And so what happened was Chris Rock told a joke about Will Smith's wife. And what took place, I'm watching it right now. What took place was the following. I can't believe it. So Chris Rock told a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. And then the video pans to Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. She is not happy about the joke at all. I don't know if Will Smith is initially insulted by it, but she's not happy at all. Then what happens is Will Smith goes on stage and slaps him, basically punch, slap, smack in the face. At that point right now, you're not exactly sure if it's staged because, Chris Rock he's not on the floor or anything, but it's just this pretty violent type of situation. I'm sure you've watched it already. Then Will Smith sits down and he starts yelling, "Get my wife's name out of your mouth." And he says that with a lot of intensity and, passion and strength. And so you could tell, the words he yelled were almost more, I don't want to say more violent, but almost as, almost even more confrontational than the actual confrontation, physical confrontation. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly because, again, I don't really care what happens in Hollywood. Hollywood to me is Chris Rock and Will Smith and the people of my generation or people I grew up with. So anyone in the past 5, 6, 7, 8, even really 10 years, even more than that, I'm not really, not to say that they're extremely relevant today. They're doing a lot of great things, both of them, but they made their, mark on Hollywood in the 90s, or late 80s, 90s, early 2000s. So you could look at Variety, Rolling Stone, what just happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I'll say this. I'm not, aside from the actual words that were exchanged, everything, you would think it was just staged if it was just the physical confrontation, but also Chris Rock, I think that he was shocked and stunned. I will say this. I think what happened was the following. I think this is what took place. Again, believe me, I'm not into Hollywood, what takes place. I did a whole bunch of work on Alec Baldwin and what took place with him ending someone's life accidentally without checking the firearm and pointing and aiming at somebody just feet away, at a close distance without the armorer next to him, just accepting a firearm from the assistant director, not abiding by protocol. We can go on forever with that. But aside from that, the type of thing, I don't really talk about what goes on in Hollywood, and I don't care. This, I think, I think it was to a great extent noble of Will Smith to defend his wife. At the same time, I don't see that Chris Rock was doing anything malicious. There was no malice. I don't think there was any malice or any negative sentiment with the joke. It wasn't a type of thing where he was deliberately trying to be vicious or malicious or mean-spirited. Perhaps this he looked at his wife and his wife was upset, and he said, "That's it. I'm gonna," because I don't know. I have no clue. What took place. So, from the perspective of watching what happened to Chris Rock, I don't think that's. I don't know what the background story is, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like that physical confrontation was warranted, but I don't know what the backstory is. Because it didn't seem like there was malice, but at the same time, you see a husband defending his wife and Will Smith defending Jada Pinkett Smith, so that's pretty, profound and noble there. Chris Rock is one of the great comedians of all time, in my view. And he's not like a nasty or mean or vicious person. So I don't really know. I don't really have anything other than that to say. I don't really know any background or history between the two individuals or between, I don't know if Chris Rock has said other things about Will Smith. I have no clue. All I can say is that I don't think it was scripted, and I think that the verbal exchange after what took place makes it very raw and, emotional. But hey, I mean, this is probably the most, it could very well be the most real or unstaged or unscripted type of thing that ever took place. Or one of the most at the Oscars. I would never be talking about the Oscars right now because I don't care about the Oscars. The Oscars generally is a place, it's usually, the Oscars used to be for everybody. Hollywood used to be for all Americans, like everybody. Now it's highly politicized. It is a venue where morally superior actors can spew their nonsense about politics and how bad Trump is and how good Democrats are and all that. This is bizarre, interesting. There are some noble elements to this, and then there are some perhaps elements like, I don't think, just from what I saw, I don't think it's right. Well, here, if there was no history between Will Smith and Chris Rock, I don't think it was justified what took place. If there was a history, then maybe that's a different story. That being said, it is noble that Will Smith stuck up, defended his wife. That is a noble thing. That is there's beauty in that. There's some beauty in that. I think that's, he's an amazing husband, for doing that. But at the same time, if there was absolutely no history between the two, okay, and then there's the issue of physical confrontation. If it wasn't Chris Rock and somebody else, would he have done that? Somebody else who could have fought back. That's another element to this story. But Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Very interesting, intriguing, bizarre, and I think it was a moment that perhaps it's an unfortunate moment with a whole bunch of emotions that can be, addressed from this moment. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. Thank you. I guess, I don't know what to make of it right now. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. From what I saw from the clip, I don't see that genuine malice from Chris Rock, but at the same time, it was a beautiful thing to see a husband defend his wife, but at the same time, you don't really want to go after comedians physically. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.